ऐसे साड़ी सी चीज के भी चला
Hi guys, just as I said there in my message, we're just waiting for our Deputy Director Marita to join, and for Anne Marie, who's our postgrad coordinator, to join because they're starting off the meeting. So just please bear with us, okay? But it seems like there's a really good turnout. There's 274 people online already, which is good. And this will be recorded and put on our Facebook page and on our website as well. Unfortunately, there's a small delay. Hi, Anne-Marie. We're just waiting on Marita now. Is that right? Hi, Marita.
Everybody.
Thanks for joining, Marita. I can hear you.
Problem.
Anne-Marie is online as well, I can see.
Do you want to give it another minute or so, Natalie?
Yeah, no problem. We have 304 with us so far anyway, so that's not too bad.
Excellent.
This will be recorded anyway and pushed out, so. Will we start? Because there's quite a bit to get through. Would that be okay, Marita?
Absolutely no problem at all. So I'll proceed there. So
perfect, thank you.
Okay, so my name is Marita Foster and I'm the Deputy Director of the International Office at University College Cork. I work in the international office with a number of colleagues. Many of you will have received communication over the last number of months from my colleagues. I want to introduce you to Natalie O'Byrne, and Natalie is part of the support team for international students here at UCC. In addition, I am my colleague Anne-Marie Scarry, who leads up the postgraduate admissions team, is also on the call today. And over the next couple of weeks, we will be seeing you hopefully in Cork if you haven't already arrived. We do have some in-person events organised as well, and Ashley will fill you in on those over the next 2 hours. The purpose of the PG orientation is to, I suppose, give you an overview of what to expect while you are students at University College Cork. I'm just going to say a brief couple of words about the university and the city in which you'll be living for the next year or so. So the university is part of the National University of Ireland. We were initially established in 1845 as one of 3 Queen's Colleges during the reign of Queen Victoria. At that time, Ireland was part of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Ireland. So the legislation was brought in by the government under during the reign, I should say, of Queen Victoria. We opened our doors to students in 1849. In November of that year, we had 115 students. We are now we now have a student population of 24,000 from approximately 138 or so countries across the globe. So we pride ourselves on our international profile now. Back in the 19th century, when we were established, all the students were pretty much from Cork. Now we have students from all over the globe, and that has added so much to our campus and our university community. Cork is a very open and welcoming city. It's relatively small in international terms. It's the second city in the Republic of Ireland after Dublin, which of course is the capital. But Cork people really believe that Cork is the best place you can possibly be in Ireland, and many people who make their homes in Cork feel very welcomed, and also get to know the city relatively quickly because it is of a very manageable size. The city itself is located in the very southern part of Ireland. We are in one of the most scenic parts of the country, and while you were with us as students, apart from getting to know the university itself and the city, we do hope that you will take the opportunity to familiarise yourself with the country as well. Public transportation is pretty good, particularly in the cities, and we do encourage you to get out and about. And we do have some trips organised as well as part of the events over the next number of weeks. Obviously, the main reason you're with us at UCC is for your studies, and we are absolutely sure that you will all do well in your studies, because you will have the support not just of the international office, but also of the academic coordinators in the program in which you're enrolled, and also, of course, your fellow students from different countries, but also the local students who are very welcoming of international students. We would encourage you to utilise the resources that are available to you as students of UCC. We have a really fine library, a state-of-the-art library, and it's not just about what you see on the shelves anymore. It's also now about the resources that you can access as a member of the library community. And the staff there are always ready and willing to help students to familiarise themselves with the resources, both the physical resources within the library, but also the plethora of online resources that are now available as well. So you will also, as I say, have access to all other services of the university, all our support services, not just the international office and the international support team, which have been put in place especially for you as international students, but also all the other services right across the university. And for students who are pursuing postgraduate studies, for instance, the career service is a great resource, and we would strongly encourage you to use that resource as you go through your studies and you're thinking about what you're going to do next in terms of employment. We have a really fine sports arena and gym, and again, as University College Cork students, you have access to those facilities. So again, we strongly, I suppose, are of the view that a healthy body helps with a healthy mind. So we would encourage you to get involved in sports, as well as then the many student societies that are open to you as students of the university. So I suppose what I just want to say to you is that you are all very welcome to us to be part of the university community. I would also, I suppose, advise that, you know, over the next number of weeks, we are going to be under a lot of pressure, because we have a very considerable number of students arriving for different programs, not just at the postgraduate level, but also at the undergraduate level. And we have students as well that come to us through programs such as Erasmus, and students that study with us, not for their degree, but just for one semester. So we are an extremely busy office, and we will be over the next number of weeks. In terms of the culture, we operate on a respectful and courteous basis. We are, within our office, we always deal with our students in a courteous and mannerly way, and we would expect that is returned in kind. So we do not appreciate when students lose their temper. We do not appreciate when students may get a little bit stressed out and take it out on us. We are there to help you. We want to help you. So please, you know, even if you are under stress, even if you are under a little bit of pressure, remember we are doing our best, and we have an excellent record in terms of supporting our students. And we would hope that over the next number of weeks, you will appreciate a lot of time and effort has gone in to helping you get to University College Cork to pursue your studies. As I say, we are thrilled to see so many of you on the online orientation. We know there will be many others who will be arriving over the next number of weeks. And please do, as I say, utilise the resource of the International Office, where we are there especially to provide you with the supports that you need to make the year at UCC as successful as it possibly can be. So I'm now going to hand you back to Natalie, and Natalie now will go through a lot of information. So we do ask you to bear with us. There's a lot of information that you're going to hear this morning, and we appreciate that you're not going to maybe take it all in at one sitting, but as Natalie has indicated, it is being recorded and you can go back and look at the information online at your own convenience. And please ensure as well that you have your mics on mute during this session, because to be fair to everybody. So I'm now going to hand you back, and again, welcome everybody. As we say in Ireland, Céad Míle Fáilte Romh, and we are thrilled to see you here. And I wish you all the very best for your year at UCC. In your studies, your social life, and as you familiarise yourself with our beautiful university, city and country. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Marita. Anne-Marie, do you want to say a few words about registration?
I can indeed. So I would just like to echo Marita's comments there. First of all, my name is Anne-Marie and I am the Postgraduate Coordinator for International Students. I'd like to echo everything Marita has said. You are more than welcome to Ireland and Cork, and particularly UCC. We have spent a number of months, if not longer, preparing for your arrival. And, you know, I know that at times the application process was probably complex and arduous, and I suppose even from our perspective here, it's really nice that we're now at this point of the cycle where all of that work and expectation has come to fruition, and you now have the opportunity to start your course. I know from speaking to a number of you over the last few weeks that you are quite excited about starting the course. And of course, I know that there's a certain level of apprehension and certain issues that still need to be ironed out. I'm very aware that some of you are still awaiting visas, and that, you know, you're waiting for disbursement of loans, and, you know, that there is all of that kind of, I suppose, paperwork and official stuff that needs to be resolved, but hopefully we will get through that part of the process also. So in terms of registration, I suppose we are still receiving a number of queries about when you will receive registration. So just to give you an idea, as Marita mentioned, there are 24,000 students registered in UCC, and each person's account has to be manually activated for their individual programme and module requirements. So that's quite a significant piece of work that has to be undertaken by the admissions offices and the student records offices here in UCC. And I suppose nothing happens together or all at once or immediately. It does take a little bit of time. So while your friend or your colleague or so on might have received information on registration, it doesn't mean that there's any problem with your particular registration if you haven't received the details yet. It literally just means that the account isn't active, and until it is, I can't send you on the details. But we are hopeful that the majority of you will have received your registration information by the end of the day today. And of course, you are welcome to contact us if you have any particular queries. I am aware that there is a little, you know, that there here and there might be some minor kind of issues, I suppose, with regard to fees, or something on the portal may not look correct for you. You know, there may be something with your name or your gender, and you are more than welcome to send us an email. You all have my email address now. You are welcome to send an email, and we will try to resolve the issue as quickly as possible. Just do bear in mind that we are dealing with a large number of queries, and so it may take us a little bit longer than we would like to get back to you, but we will do our best to get back to you as quickly as we can. I also want to say that while my introduction here at the start of orientation is just a brief overview, I will be here for the full session, and if you have any questions, you're welcome to put them into the chat. While we are recording the orientation session for students that can't make it at this time, your comments and your queries won't be visible on the recording. So I would ask you, if you have a query, maybe to put in your student application number. Just it makes it easier for us to track you and to find out what it is you're looking for. So do ask any questions you would like. No question is too big or too small, and we will do our best to help. So in terms of registration, when we send out the email, we do send out links to the website as well. So you will get information on how to collect your student card. You'll get information on how to obtain a letter of attendance, information on visas and so on. All of that will be provided as part of the registration email. Then we also have, for those of you that will have arrived by next Monday, there is going to be a face-to-face questions and answer session. So the team will be available in the Aula Maxima in UCC. You will all have received details on that, and your respective colleges will have a slot at that particular session so that you can arrive, you can ask any questions that you might have, and we will also have people there, you know, from various different offices like accommodation or banking to answer any particular questions you might have. It's also an opportunity for you to meet with your peers from the programs that are similar to your discipline. So then I suppose there isn't a lot left for me to say in terms of registration itself. I would advise you, once you do receive your registration email, to complete your registration process as soon as you can. Even if you are waiting on a visa or waiting on something to be resolved, like, you know, a payment or whatever, if you've received your registration details, I would ask you to complete it as soon as you can. And if you have any issues at all, you're welcome to contact me. I will be keeping an eye on the chat, as I say. If there's any questions, do get in touch with me. And I hope that you will all have a safe journey over here to Ireland, and that you will enjoy your stay here, and that it will be everything that you were hoping for. So with that, I think I'll pass you back to Natalie, and if there is anything extra, do let me know. Okay, thanks, Natalie.
Thanks a million, Anne-Marie. Okay, so let me just share my page so I can get open my presentation. Can you see that, Anne-Marie?
Yeah, we can, thanks.
Okay, perfect. So just to confirm and to clarify that today the orientation is only for non-EU postgrad students, because I see in the chat we have a couple of EU students that are attending, and this is not for you. The information will confuse you. So just to kick off, so my name is Natalie and I'm part of the UCC support team, and I work alongside Suzanne, who is my boss. And what do we do? Well, basically, we're an advocate for all international students. We're responsible for the general welfare of all students. We are located on the first floor of the International Education Office. So that's just a picture there of the office. We're available for information, advice, assistance, and problem solving. And we're here to signpost to the various UCC support services. Okay, so there's a lot to get through, so I'm going to break it down into three kind of chunks. So first, we're going to start with the practical information, which is all about visas and immigration. Then we will look at the UCC student services that are available to you, and then we'll have a look at the academic guide. Okay, so at this stage, hopefully most of you have your visas already, or you're either appealing or you're waiting on your visa. So we don't get involved in that stage of the visa process. So we can't expedite or anything like that. I am getting questions about that. So I'm going to move straight on to immigration. So what happens when you get here, okay? So basically you're going to arrive into your port of entry. So that'll either be the ferry station or it'll be the airport. And you're going to pass through passports and immigration control. So in order to get permission to enter Ireland, we do recommend you have the following documents with you to hand. So your passport, obviously, and your visa, if your visa requiring, the application summary sheet or application letter, travel plan confirmation, study plan confirmation, accommodation plan confirmation, finances, and travel and medical insurance. So this is what I've taken from the website. So this is what we advise you, because there's so many different immigration officers at border control. Some will ask for just your passport, some will ask for everything. So I would have as much ready as you can. So basically, it's important to know that airport immigration do reserve the right to refuse you entry even with a visa. I haven't really heard of it happening, but it's just important to note that a visa is just your permission to fly to the country. It's not automatic access to the country. So all non-EU students will have their passports computer swiped and date stamped by the immigration officer. Basically, it endorses a requirement for you to register or request an appointment with the immigration office before the date stamped expires. So it's usually between 30 and 90 days. It is not negotiable. And please don't argue with the immigration officer requesting more time. He'll give you between 30 and 90 days, and that is it. The other thing we recommend or we advise that you don't enter Ireland as a visitor or as a worker and then attempt to change status while here. So don't come in on one status and then try to change to another. Okay, so this is what your landing stamp looks like. So this is what the immigration officer at the border control will stamp in your passport. Again, the deadline to register with immigration ranges from 30 to 90 days, not negotiable. The other thing about this landing stamp is that it's not permission to enter and exit Ireland at will. So if you have a multiple entry visa, then yes, you can travel in and out of the country on that while you're getting your immigration in place. But if you're non-visa requiring, so if we have any students from, say, the States or Canada, let's just say your landing stamp expires in December. This is not permission to come in and out as you wish. You do have to register with immigration so that you have no problems coming in and out of the country. This is just a deadline by which you must register with immigration. Okay, it's a temporary permission to reside. Okay, so what is immigration? So as I just touched upon, it's your permission to be here. So your permission to study or to work and to reside here. So all students who are here for longer than 90 days must register with the Immigration Office in Cork. So all non-EU international students. Now, you do not need to register if you've entered Ireland on an EU or UK passport, or if you possess an EU UK passport. So let's just say you come in on an Indian passport, but you actually have an EU passport. You do need to notify the Gardaí so that they can switch your status on their system from non-EU to EU, and then you don't have to register and go through the hassle of immigration. So that only applies if you enter Ireland on an EU UK passport or you have an EU UK passport. So the deadline by which you must register or request an appointment, like I said, is on your landing stamp in your passport. I get a lot of questions about what happens if my landing stamp expires and I have no IRP card yet. So nothing happens. Unfortunately, there is going to be a backlog. It's the same every year, especially in September, October, November. We have a huge number of students trying to register all at the same time. The only thing it means is that unless you have a multiple entry visa, you cannot exit and come back into the country. You will be refused or denied entry. Okay, so I've just put that there in red because it's very important. So just remember, you cannot travel back into Ireland without a valid IRP card or a valid multiple entry visa. So you need one of the two of those. Okay, so in terms of immigration, what exactly do you need? So you need the completed hard copy of the IRP form. So this is the Irish Residence Permit. Now the form is not available at the international office and it's not available at the Gardaí. So if you go down to the Garda station, all of your documents in order, no form, they will turn you away. They won't register you. And then you go back into the queuing system, which could be 6 to 9 weeks. So please have the form printed out, completed, and make sure the checklist corresponds with the documents you have. So what's on the checklist? It's your passport, your visa, if applicable. You need your UCC student identity card, proof of private medical insurance, a €300 processing fee, proof of address, and financial evidence if you are non-visa requiring. Okay, that's important. So this is what the first side of the immigration form looks like. So this does not exist for anybody else in Ireland. So Suzanne, my boss, a good few years ago wanted to make the system more streamlined and easier for you. So she created this form, which was sanctioned by the Immigration Office. So this is a guide and it makes life a lot easier. So on the front side of the form, you just complete it. So your surname is your last name, your first name is your first name, and then you put in your middle name if you have it on your passport. So it must match your passport. So the only options in terms of gender or sex are male, female at the moment. You put down your date of birth, nationality, country of birth, date of arrival, port of arrival, like I said, Dublin Airport, Cork Airport, Shannon Airport, and Ferryport, and your current Irish address. So then as you move down the form, you fill out your contact number. If you only have a home address, a home telephone number from, say, India or Pakistan, that's fine, put that down. Your occupation will be student. So your PPS number is your tax number. So this allows you to work. So you're not going to have this yet, unless you've been in Ireland previously and you are switching stamps or something like that, or if you're renewing immigration. And then you must tick the relevant box for your marital status. So single, married, widowed, etc. Okay. Now, over to the next slide. So part B then is the actual checklist. So this is what is required of you in terms of documents, and they need to be in hard copy. So the first one is your appointment confirmation email. So this can be digital. You just need to show them on your phone. I do have an appointment and here it is. So they will need to see that. The second one is obviously the form. So luckily it's on the other side. And like I said, not available at the Immigration Office or UCC International Office. So this form, this link has been sent a million times. I'd say you're sick of looking at it. It's on our website and it's on our Facebook page or Instagram page. It's not hard to find. You just Google UCC IRP form, okay? So obviously you need your passport, your visa, if applicable, your UCC student identity card, so you can't register without this, and the proof of private medical insurance. So it needs to be an original policy document, so the little card is not sufficient. It needs to be the full policy document in your name, so not a parent's name, and it must cover the entire length of your stay. So the minute you enter Ireland, you need to be covered either by travel insurance or health insurance. And it has to cover right up until you leave Ireland. The other thing is it must include full cover for hospital, because it's very expensive for you if you end up in hospital and it's not covered on your policy. The state won't cover it. But immigration will reject the policy anyway if it's not adequate. So just back to medical insurance. So we did an hour-long workshop on this because it is complex because of the recent change in legislation. So the most important things really to note right now are that students from outside the EU must have private medical insurance to cover immigration requirements. So if you're here for a course that's longer than 12 months, so say 12 months and a day, then you must have health insurance that's been purchased in Ireland from an Irish provider. So I know a lot of students will have got their visas based on their home policy from the US or from Canada or from India. And if you're here for more than that 12 months, so like I said, 12 months plus 1 day, immigration will reject your policy and you're going to have to buy a new one. So that's important. And unfortunately, it's out of our hands. It's out of immigration's hands. This has been sanctioned by the government and the Department of Justice. So they are enforcing it now. Okay. So where do you get private health insurance if you're here for longer than the 12 months? All of the information is on our website, but we do encourage you to look at both Study and Protect or VHI, because we work very closely with them, so we know who the agents are, and we know, most importantly, that their policies are immigration compliant. So please watch this workshop if you missed it. As I said, it's an hour long. It covers all of the questions that you might have about private health insurance. And it also gives you contact details for Catherine, who worked with VHI, and for Chris, who works with Study and Protect. And they're brilliant. They do know the legislation backwards. I've just kind of learned as I've gone. So they will be the people who you need to ask your questions to if it comes to questions about medication and things like that. Okay. Okay, so back to the immigration checklist. So point 7 is your fee. It's a €300 fee. It's not negotiable. So if you're only here for, we'll say, 3 months or 6 months, you can't negotiate that you just want to pay a fraction of this €300 fee. We are saying all of these things because these things have happened. So please don't negotiate with them. They won't take to it kindly. It's €300. They do not take cash. The best really is like a credit card or Visa card. So like one of the major Visa companies or MasterCard, Laser. If you want to pay by bank gyro, can everybody go on mute, please? Thank you. It's just a bit distracting. Please go on mute, please. Okay, sorry. So just back to the bank gyro. So if you do want to pay by bank gyro, it's a little bit extra hassle. So you have to go to immigration with all your documents. They tell you, yes, all of these are perfect. Here's the bank information for the immigration. Then you go to the bank, then you've got to come back again to immigration. So I would avoid that if I could. Just pay with your Visa, Laser or debit. So then the final point on the form in terms of documentation is proof of address. So it must be the full address, including apartment number. So if you're living in Nido or the Crow's Nest, it has to say, John O'Brien is living in apartment 4, floor 3. And the address, the full address. So it can't be John is living in the Crow's Nest. That will be rejected. Okay. So if you don't have a lease, the other option is a bank statement. Obviously, it'll have to be from an Irish bank account, and that will take time to set up, or a utility bill. And again, most landlords will pay the utility bills. So this is something you really need to start preparing now, because unless you're in a student complex, it can be difficult to get this piece of what you need, and they will not register you without it. So in terms of the self-service letter of attendance, they will not accept that as proof of address. It's not sufficient because all you have to do is go into the portal, pop in your address, and then it generates a letter. So that's not official enough. It will work for Bank of Ireland to set up an account if you're here already, but it's not sufficient for immigration. The other thing is we don't write letters as proof of address. Okay, so that is the immigration form. The last piece causes a lot of confusion for us too, and it's financial evidence. So the most important thing to note is that if you are visa requiring, you have already proved that you have, or you've already proven that you have sufficient access to finances. So you do not need to do this part again. Okay, so I'll just say it again because I'm getting a lot of emails about it. If you are visa requiring, you have already gone through the process of demonstrating that you have enough finances to be here. Okay. So let's say you're from a non-visa requiring country like the US, Canada, Mexico, Singapore. In that case, if you are here for 6 months, up to 6 months, you need to show 700 per month of stay. If you're here for longer than 6 months, you need to show that you have 4,500 in your account. So how do you show this money? You have a couple of options. Number 1 is proof from an Irish bank account. Number 2 is proof from a foreign bank account. Number 3 is proof from a financial services company. Proof 4 is via a prepaid credit or debit card. And then option 5 is for the scholarship students. And it basically means that you're getting a letter which will say what is covered. So the ideal letter would say that all expenses are covered. Sponsored students is the same as scholarship. It does not mean sponsored by your parents. It means a scholarship or a bursary, okay? So just to go through it very quickly, if you are visa requiring, you do not need to touch this. You do not need to show any access to finances. You've already done that. If you are not visa requiring, you need to show you have access to 700 per month of stay or 4,500 if you're here for 6 months or more. Okay, so those numbers have recently changed to reflect the cost of living, which has obviously increased everywhere. Okay, so the next question is, you've got all your documents, you're here in Ireland, so please don't request an appointment before you get here, they will know. So you're here, you've got your documents, and now you need to email immigration. So if you live in the city centre, and the city centre goes out as far as Ballincollig, so Douglas, Ballincollig, anywhere in the city limits, you email Anglesey Street, which is that building there, and that is our main Garda station. Okay, so they have a little immigration desk, and you email them on corkcity.immigration@garda.ie. You must include the following information. So your full name as in passport. It must match your passport. Date of birth, current address in Cork, your IRP expiry date for renewals only, telephone number, and again confirming if it's renewal or first time registration. So we would advise you to get on this ASAP because the minimum backlog is 6 weeks. Last September it was 9 weeks. Okay. So the second part is you're not living in the city centre, for example. You live in Bandon, you live in Middleton. So you have to basically go to your local Garda station. I don't know how they operate. I don't know, do you drop in? Do you phone them? I would probably just pop in to your Garda station, ask, do they have an immigration desk or an immigration officer? Explain, I'm a student at UCC, I'm living in Middleton, and I need to request an appointment for my IRP. So there is the website, and that gives you a list of all of the stations. So it's a station directory. You need to look for that yourself. And I would still bring my IRP form and all my documents because you want to make their life as easy as possible, which ultimately makes the process easier for you. Okay. So I haven't touched on visas for the simple reason we don't assist with visas. So visas coming into the country or visas to travel around Europe. It is your responsibility to make sure that you know what you need. Okay, so the first thing is you must have your valid IRP card or multiple entry visa. You must check the visa immigration requirements for each country you travel to and transit through. Okay, so you might be going to Finland through London. You might need a visa, a transit visa through London. You have to check into that. People have been returned at London, for example, because they didn't have sufficient paperwork. The other thing people get stuck on is Northern Ireland and, like I said, the UK because of Brexit. We've had students travel by bus over the border into Belfast. They can be non-visa requiring, for example, from the US, and they have no paperwork. They're returned. So you do need to check, what do I need, whether you're visa or non-visa requiring. So for example, to go to Belfast, I know that if you are from the US or Canada, you must have, for example, proof of, your current address in Cork to say that you're a resident here, that you're not trying to slip through to the UK. You must show return bus tickets. You must show your accommodation evidence in the UK. So there's a lot to it. So don't take any of it for granted. You must investigate what you need. Okay. And like I say there, don't assume because you didn't need a visa to enter Ireland that you don't need one to enter another EU country. So the other obvious visa to look into is called the Schengen. This covers 26 of the 27 EU countries. So if you're traveling, for example, to a couple of different countries, if you're lucky to be doing interrailing or something, you basically apply to the embassy of the country you'll be traveling to the longest. So if you're going to France for 2 weeks and Spain for 1, you'll be getting your Schengen visa through the Spanish embassy. And we do not assist you with visas for outside of Ireland. This is your responsibility. We don't have the knowledge and we don't have the resources to assist. Okay, so please, this is important. Make sure you know what you need. Okay, so yeah.
Sorry, apologies not to cut in. I just have a question here in the chat, and I think it's something that most people would be wondering about. The question basically relates to health insurance, and if somebody is planning on staying in Ireland, either for their conferring or if they intend to get a 1G, should they purchase the health insurance now for in excess of 12 months?
I don't know if you can, Anne-Marie. I actually don't know. It's a really good question. So I would say they would have to contact, the policy provider. So contact Study and Protect, contact BHI and ask, do they offer a policy that's longer than 12 months? Yes. But I'd say you probably just need to renew it, to be honest. At that stage. Yeah, I would say just renew it, but I don't think they're allowed to offer you a policy for longer because your circumstances might change and then the policy is not accurate. It's not what's the word? It doesn't cover your needs because things can change. You might think you're going to be studying, but you might just decide to go to work and take an exit diploma or something. So you need to contact the provider. I don't know the answer to that.
And also, I suppose at this point, it's just good to mention again that, if you are planning on staying for your conferring, or for a short-term period, it would be necessary then to look for an extension to your residency permit, but it's not guaranteed.
Exactly. So you definitely need to be here legally. So if your IRP card expires, that means all of your rights expire. So it means that you're here as an illegal alien, basically. So you need to make sure that you go to immigration and say, look, there's a gap between my IRP expiring and my results. I've done something called a 1G workshop. It's for graduate visas. I didn't bring it into this presentation because it's another animal and it's a bit complex. So
we've lost you there, Natalie, now. You're on mute, I think.
On mute, I don't know why. Can you hear me?
We're okay now, yeah.
Perfect. Sorry about that. My computer muted itself for some reason. So what I was saying was, I've done a 1-hour workshop for 1G or the graduate visa, and it does explain in detail, the issues you might encounter if you're here and there's a gap between your IRP expiring and your results coming out. It covers questions about when can I transition to full-time work. So I won't go into it now because there's too much information and I don't want to confuse people. So please watch that 1-hour workshop. It's on our Facebook page and our website. Is there anything else in the chat there, Anne-Marie, that's kind of coming up?
One question that I wasn't sure of the answer to, and it's not directly relevant to this, but it was in terms of when you mentioned that the GNIB unit doesn't accept cash. Well, there's a query about would they accept liquid cash? I wasn't sure what that meant.
I don't know what liquid cash means. So they will only take a bank giro, a Visa debit, a Visa credit, a laser, MasterCard. That's pretty much it. Yeah. Is there anything else or will I keep going?
I'd say keep going. I'm managing for the moment. Yeah.
Perfect. I can only imagine the chat. I can't see the chat, guys, so just to let you know. Okay, just a reminder, please put yourselves on mute. I can hear someone beeping their car. Please go on mute. Okay, so
you're on mute now as well.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I don't know why my computer is muting me.
And just to say, we can't see the option for muting everyone without, and obviously I don't want to mute you as well. So it's just, if everyone could keep on their own, it would be really good. Yeah.
I think that's what might be happening. I think you might be muting me because I'm not muting myself, I don't think.
I
So
didn't
yeah.
put it at all, but just to say everyone could keep an eye on their own, 'cause I think when someone goes mute all, everyone is cut off, you know.
Okay,
Thanks.
perfect. So perfect, thanks for that. Just keep shouting at me, Anne-Marie, if I go on mute, okay? Okay, so back to the immigration. So we have to go through a couple of items in terms of a word of warning. All of these have come up before. So in terms of priorities, immigration is your legal requirement. You might have to miss a class. I really wouldn't be emailing them and messing them around saying you need to reschedule because because you've had a heavy night out the night before or because you have a class. You have to go to your immigration appointment. Everything is recorded, okay? So in terms of attitude, it's not a service. I know you're paying a €300 fee, but you have only got permission to be here to study and to work if you have your immigration in place. So you must comply with the rules of the Irish government. So please be polite at all times. They're under massive strain as well, okay? So that covers my next point. Just be polite. Don't question their authority. Don't argue with them, whether it be about the documents that they might not want to take from you or whether it be about the fee. Just go in with what you need and get out of there and get your IRP card, and that's all you need to focus on. So please don't battle with them. The power balance, so obviously, they are, they are immigration officers and they work for the state. They don't work for you. So they hold the power. They can deport you. The checklist, so it's really important. We update this every single year to make sure that it's accurate. We get it sanctioned every year. So we spend a lot of time putting this together. So you have to put in your side of the bargain and just make sure you've got what you need. And we don't check documents for you. There's too many of you and you're adults. You need to do this for yourself, okay? So again, that leads on to the next part, responsibility and entitlements. This is up to you to sort out, and it should be pretty straightforward because we've streamlined it and we've made it as clear as we can. If you have issues, of course, come to us, but we need you to try to help yourself first. So travel, you can be refused entry if your immigration paperwork is not in order. So we get a lot of questions about, well, I'm not visa requiring, I have an IRP, I had my IRP appointment, but I've got no card, can I travel? No, you need your card. You're taking a risk and you could be deported back to your home country. So please, you have to have what you need. And the thought for the day is, what happens in your home country if someone breaches immigration? You get arrested, you get deported. And this does happen here in Ireland too. We have heard of it happening. So, they're very nice. They just want you to do what you're supposed to do, go in with your paperwork and just comply. That's it. So please take it seriously. Okay, so this is what your IRP or your Irish Resident Permit looks like. So it's basically like a little credit card. So this man here, John Smith, it says 1G on it, which is the graduate visa. Yours will say stamp 2, okay? So you go to your appointment and this is posted to you 2 weeks after your appointment. So in that 2-week interim, you are not registered technically, okay? So don't be traveling in and out unless you have a multiple entry visa. So please be careful of the card. If you lose it, they will charge you to have it replaced. And if it gets lost or stolen, you must declare it because it will go on the black market 100%. It's a very, very valuable document, a very, very valuable card and status. And obviously, don't change your address while waiting for the card because it'll go to the wrong address. You must alert the Gardaí straight away. And this does happen. You might change address and the card goes somewhere else. You have to intercept it. Okay. So moving on to banking, just very just very briefly. So how do I open a bank account? So we only work with Bank of Ireland, but there's lots of banks you can choose from. To open a Bank of Ireland account, you basically just have to text PCA, so to that number. The second option is follow the link, or you go directly through the website. And this is all on our Student Hub, our Student Info Hub webpage on the UCC website, okay? Just Google international banking and this will come up. Now, I've also done, I think it was 1 hour, maybe a bit longer actually, on banking with 2 Bank of Ireland officials. So with the Bank of Ireland manager from the city centre and with the Bank of Ireland manager from the UCC branch. And it's a really good workshop. It explains everything. So that's the YouTube link. So please have a look if you missed it. The other things to mention is that we only work with Bank of Ireland because they're our partner bank. But like I said, there are lots of other banks and you are free to choose whoever you want. You don't even have to open an Irish account. But what we don't offer is banking letters for proof of address. This is where people get stuck if they're trying to get immigration sorted, but they have no address. You know, we can provide proof of address letters, okay? Now, working in Ireland. So your entitlement is that you can basically work up to 20 hours per week during term, and you can work full-time outside of term. So full-time is 40 hours per week, and that is considered Christmas, so December 15th to the 15th of January, June, July, and August and September inclusive. Okay, so even if you are starting college in August, like some of our medical students, you are still entitled to work 40 hours per week. It's not advisable because obviously you're here to study, but the legislation has just set out those hours and those holidays. So you must comply with those, okay? So the students that can work must be either EU, or if you're non-EU, you must be here as a full undergrad or a full postgrad. So we have students who are here from maybe the US or Canada. If they're here for a term only, they are not taking home a parchment, so they're not eligible to work. Okay, so this should not apply to you, but I'm just mentioning it anyway. So in order to work, you basically need you need your permission to be here, so your IRP card. And B, you need to be tax compliant. So you need a PPS or tax number, which is a separate process. It's listed there on the website, and we can't assist you with the PPS process. Okay, I get lots of queries about this as well. Can you write me a letter? Can you expedite it? We can't. It's a separate system. That is not anything to do with us. Okay. Anne-Marie, am I speaking too quickly? Is the pace okay?
Yeah, no, I think it's okay. Yeah, it's okay.
Okay, just checking. We speak really fast in Cork, so I just want to, slow me down if I'm speaking too quickly, okay? Okay, so on to the next part, which is shipping. So all goods coming into Ireland from outside the EU are subject to import duties. So students' personal effects and books are exempt. So the message here is make sure you label everything correctly. So you might be getting a really expensive jar of peanut butter that you cannot live without. And if you mark it as high value, you will be taxed. So just make sure you label things correctly, okay? In terms of medication, there are some rules that you must comply with. So let's just say you're carrying a supply on you obviously for your personal supply. You must have no more than 3 months, and you must have a copy of the prescription with you. Otherwise, you will be stopped and it will be taken off you. It'll be confiscated because they will deem that as an intent to supply. So you must only carry 3 months with you. The same applies in terms of what you can bring in by post. They do check. So revenue is our tax body and they are our customs kind of regulator. So you need to check out revenue.ie if you're on medication and you need to have it, okay? Just make sure you're bringing in the correct quantity and you have all your paperwork. So in terms of shipping at the end of the year, you might be going home for the summer holidays. We can't store items for you, I'm afraid. You can contact lots of private storage companies. But what we do ask is if you're gone back for good, that you donate to our swap shop. So our swap shop is basically a student initiative. So it was an idea that came from one of our EU students who said, look, I've got all this stuff, what do I do with it? And, you know, UCC is a very, very green campus. We're very proud of our sustainability mission. And I thought that this would be a really good way to try to support that initiative and kind of fly the green flag at a local level. So we converted our shed out the back of the office. So that's obviously our office. It's a little shed. We're hoping to get a second container very soon. And what we do is we ask students who are leaving for good to give us anything that they don't want, obviously clean, sanitized, usable. And we store it, sort it and store it for you. So right now the shed is brimming with items, and these are our opening hours here on the screen. So we're going to be open from 9:30 to 11:30 on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday of the first week of September. So it's first come, first serve. You just have to queue up. And basically we ask you to donate €3 per person each time. And this is given to a local animal shelter called Cork Dog. And you literally pay your fee, you sign a waiver, so we can just keep track of everything. And then you just are admitted in by one of our student helps, and you can take whatever you want. And basically what's in there is a lot of clothing, a lot of bedding, you know, soft furnishings like, you know, duvets, or, you know, pillows and throws and cushions. You can find anything in there, slippers, Halloween costumes, stationery. So it's all been saved basically from the landfill. So we don't send it to landfill, we take it and we offer it to you. So please do think about the swap shop before you go off buying things, because obviously our aim is to A, save you money, and B, promote a more circular economy. Okay, so that's the swap shop. Now, on to the more fun things. Yeah.
To cut across you again, just I noticed there's a query there in the chat about someone that has lost connection and they can't reconnect. I assume there isn't anything we can do at the minute with that, but it will be available later online.
Yeah, there's nothing we can do from our end, but we are recording this and it will be uploaded in the chat. So even if they can access, once this is completed, they'll be able to access directly the link to the download, to the recording.
Thanks. You're on mute, Natalie, sorry.
Happening, it's very weird. Okay, thanks, Anne-Marie. Okay, so I have a phantom computer here. So back to the welcome program. So we have basically set up about 30 events. And they're all for our international students. And the purpose basically is just to help you to acclimatise to Ireland, you know, make new friends, get to know the campus, get to know the city, and obviously get to know each other. So we have, I've just taken a screenshot of it because there are too many events to squeeze into the one page. I've put the link in the chat as well. And obviously it's on our webpage. So all you have to do is Google UCC Welcome Programme. And there are lots of things happening like welcome meetings, our swap shop, city walking tours, campus tours. There's speed friendship, there's day trips, there's pop-up desks to welcome you with free sweets and chocolate. So we have loads of fun events. So please come along to as many as you want. And like I said, it's specifically for our international students, and it's just to welcome you and help you to kind of set yourselves up and make a friend network and get connected, which is really important. So that is the welcome program. So like I said, getting connected is really important. So please join our Facebook group, because I'm getting hundreds of emails asking things that are all posted on our Facebook page. For example, like, tell me more about the welcome program, give me the link to orientation, you know, lots of things. The workshops, I think we recorded maybe 7 or 8 workshops. They're really good workshops. So they're all posted on our Facebook page. So just Google UCC International Office Support 2023 2024. Sorry, I see a typo there. And you just need your student number to join. Our other page then obviously is our Instagram page. So everything on both platforms is the same. And the other kind of word of warning we want to say is that, look, there are lots of companies out there that do run trips, private tours, you know, weekend trips away across Ireland and the UK and Europe. And, you know, absolutely go for them, have fun. But the only thing we must say is that they're not endorsed by UCC. So unless it's very clearly advertised as, you know, the International Office Cafe Culture event, or as a UCC clubs or society event, then it is not endorsed by UCC. And feel free to ask them that. Are you a UCC society, club or department? Because the reason you need to ask is you don't know who you're giving your money to. You don't know, do they have adequate health and safety and health and safety and insurance policies in place? So if you fall down and break something, you know, is that going to be covered in your insurance or their insurance? So it's really important to just make sure you know who you're going on these trips with, because obviously all of our events are organised by UCC students, and they answer to us and they represent us. So they're all vetted, and you know, the events, all the feedback comes back to us. If something happens on one of these external trips, you know, come to us by all means, but there's not a whole lot we can do because it's outside our remit. Okay. So in terms of accommodation, another question I know people are asking me a lot is, you know, can you help me? We can't, I'm afraid. We have an accommodation office, and it's their email address is resservices at ucc.ie. They can help you with finding accommodation and with any. Hi guys, please go on mute. And with any accommodation issues you might be having, whether it be with landlord or, you know, people you're sharing with. So they're really, really good, and they can help you as well, how to look out for scams and things like that. So that's the first thing. So consideration is the key to successful sharing. It might be a culture shock for you to have to share. So just, you know, just be mindful that everybody's sharing a communal space. The second thing is, if you change address, you must notify immigration, and they will need proof of that new address, so lease agreement or bank statement. If you're sharing with Irish students, the culture is that they go home for the weekend, so they might go home to join a football team or to do a part-time job. We have our suspicions that they go home for Mammy's home cooking and for Mammy's laundry service, but it's just important to highlight that it is the culture. So you could be, you know, at home by yourself at the weekends if you share with Irish students, or if you're lucky, you might be going with them if you make friends. So there's a smoking ban in place as well. The fine is €3,000. They do enforce it. So it's a lot of money, so please be careful with that. And the final thing is as well, be aware of scams. You know, you're very vulnerable if you're, you know, looking for accommodation, especially while you're not here. So if you look at the website there that I have listed, they have a Facebook page as well, an Instagram page, and they have lots of information about scams and what to look out for and what to do if you do get scammed, because it does happen every year, like everywhere across Europe. If there's a housing issue, people will capitalize on that, unfortunately. Okay. So in terms of the student services that are available, so obviously the International Office is just one part of the tree, one branch. We have lots of different services. For example, you have your Students' Union, which is run by students, and they are your voice, your advocate. And you have automatic membership as a registered UCC student, so you can access the different people in their executive. You have health and well-being, so that covers counselling, it covers the health service, peer support, chaplaincy. You know, there's a student nightline if you need to call, or a text service if you're in trouble with your mental health or stress. So there's loads of resources, and now is the time to look at these before things start to get hectic. You know, before you start to kind of make friends, build a social life, you've got exams or you've got assignments or whatever. Now is the time to know what is in place for me if I need it. Okay. So I'll just highlight a few. The most important one really, I suppose, being the health centre. They have GPs and nurses on site. They do travel health, sexual health, physiotherapy, and there is a queue. You do have to, join the appointment system, and there are some services that they charge a fee. So, for example, physiotherapy is one thing. So have a good look around that website. It's the UCC Health Centre. And there's a little, if you can see on the bottom here left, there's a little red box specifically for international students. And that's where you'll find out, specifically about medication. So how much you can bring in, is it licensed here? All of those sorts of things. That's the health centre who will be able to help there. Okay. So in terms of student counselling and development, again, a fantastic resource, but always oversubscribed, especially around exam time when everybody's freaking out. So, if you have support at home in terms of psychologists or psychiatrists or psychotherapists, I would be signing up to the counselling service now so that you have support in the background, rather than, need it and not be able to access it. So I would be doing this now, registering with them now if you think you need to continue your support. Because I know a lot of therapists, they are not insured to help you if you're outside the state, for example. So I can't, I'm a therapist and I can't see people outside of Ireland, even if it's online. I'm not licensed and I'm not insured. So check that if you have a counsellor back home. Can they continue their support? Or do you need to sign up here? So they do in person, they do virtual, they do telephone calls. But like I said, the request for support surges around kind of the hot buttons of the year. So exam time, Christmas time, if you can't go home, it can be very lonely. Holiday seasons, maybe it might be Diwali or etc. Ramadan. Think about what you need and signing up now rather than leaving it too late. So another one for your overall well-being is called the Keep Well website. So this was set up by the UCC psychiatrist during the pandemic, when I think everybody was struggling, staff and students alike. And basically it covers all the different kind of branches or pillars of our well-being. So from mental well-being right down to social well-being. It's a really good resource. So have a look around it and see what's there. And they have something in particular called Silver Cloud, and basically it's a series of modules, and it's like a self-help module. You log into the portal and you access the module that you need. So for example, you might have depression or anxiety or social anxiety, and there are modules that are designed specifically to help you in that area, to build tools and to resource yourself. So again, it's really important that you know what's available now before things really start to get busy for you. Okay, so like I said, you have your UCC Students' Union. So we're hoping to get some of the reps to meet you on September 4th if you're in Ireland, but they're all available to contact, and those are their contact details. So the executive is divided into the president, comms and engagement. You've got the education officer, so that's an important one. Welfare officer, again, another important one, and then the entertainment officer and commercial. So obviously they're all important, they all have different roles, but I find that international students generally gravitate towards the education officer and welfare officer for obvious reasons. They are the most helpful in terms of the issues that you might encounter. So they have their own website, Instagram page. So join and follow all of these pages to make sure you know what's going on and what's available to you. So in terms of clubs and societies, there is no possible way you can be bored in Cork. Besides all the stuff happening outside of UCC, within UCC, there are, I think, 117 societies and 54 clubs. And basically societies are interests and clubs are sports. And you can join as many as you want, attend as many events as you want. And it's a great place to meet friends or meet people who are of, the like-minded interest. And it takes takes a little bit of pressure off you, you know, when your academic course might be quite heavy going, or if you need just a bit of light relief after studying all day. They've got some fantastic events happening throughout the year. For example, I know we have a skiing club, even though there's no snow. And they do lots of weekend trips away to the Alps and to different places across Europe. They do charge a small fee, but it's mainly subsidised by the society because they all have their own funding pot. So definitely see what, you know, tickles your fancy and what might be of interest, and join them and just see how you get on, because they're a brilliant outlet for stress as well. So like I said, opportunity to try something new, get involved, make friends. Their accommodation office, the administration is now in the accommodation office on College Road. So we also have the Mardyke Arena Sports Centre, like Marita mentioned. So it's a state-of-the-art gym, and there's a massive swimming pool. I think it might be an Olympic-sized swimming pool, and all of the services inside the gym are accessible once you have your student card. So they're all free. There are classes. I don't know if the classes charge a small fee. I don't know that. But again, they have their own reception desk and they're really nice. So you can pop in with your card and ask them any questions, or just have a look at their website. And just some new things to point out that you might not be familiar with. So like we have Gaelic football, hurling and camogie. So these are specific to Ireland, and they're, you know, they might be something that you might want to join and kind of get a taste of real Irish culture, or even go along to a match and support the UCC team. So if you kind of really want to kind of get enriched by the Irish culture, these are the things to look out for, and they're massive. They're a massive part of culture in Ireland. So Gaelic football, which is called GAA, G-A-A, hurling and camogie. So just keep an eye out for them. So the other services as well to look out for, you've got the student ombudsman. So he is dedicated to being your advocate. Again, just Google UCC Student Ombudsman, and there's a web page that takes you through how to contact him or her and what they do. Disability is another really important one. If you have a disability and you need support, you need to register before the deadline in October. So again, we did another workshop with Daryl, and it's on our Facebook page and our website. So have a look. She talks you through all the supports and how to register and the paperwork that's needed, because you do need to provide evidence of your disability. Okay. So then the obvious one for postgrads is the career service. They will be on site on Monday, the 4th of September in the Aula, if you're available and in person or in Cork. So they'll have a stand there, but otherwise you can check out their website. The other things then that you might need would be IT services, and like I said, the SU education officer and the SU welfare officer. But just download the student tree and know what's available. Okay, so we're almost there, because I'm sure everybody is probably feeling a little bit overwhelmed with how much information is coming at you. Like I said, this will be recorded, and you can go back, access the recording, which will be in the chat, and take it at your own pace, and then come back with questions, okay? But just to have a quick look at learning styles. So it's no harm in knowing, well, how do I learn? Like, for example, I'm very visual. If you give me a manual, I just can't read it. I'm very visual. I need to learn by pictures. It's the same with the map. I can't read a map. So it's information. It's powerful to know, well, how do I learn? What style do I use to learn? And what style is used in UCC? So we have something called the Skills Centre, and I think you have to visit them. They will also be there on the 4th of September at the Q&A. And they're basically dedicated to helping you to transition into UCC. They'll teach you how the academic system might differ from your home country. They teach you how to present in public, which is not always easy to do. Writing skills, you know, what's needed in terms of referencing, and that's really important. You need to know how things are done in UCC. The information is there, you just have to go and access it. So you can either meet them on the 4th, they'll have a stand that says Skills Centre, or you can just look at their website and you can book in a one-to-one, or you can just book in to one of their workshops, or you can just pop in and talk to the team. They're all really, really nice. Most of them are students, and they're really eager to help. And the things they do are kind of, again, based around the academic calendar. So for example, around exam time, they'll teach you how to manage stress, the services that are available to manage stress, like maybe doing some meditation or seeing a counselor. They teach you how to manage time, study techniques. It's a really, really good service. And we did a workshop as well with the Skills Centre, and that's also recorded. And you can access that again on our website. So this information is all there. You just have to take the time while you have it now to see what is available. Okay, so examinations, obviously a really important part of the academic calendar year. So, you need to be fully prepared for your exams. You need to know what the rules and regulations are around each exam. Obviously, you need to know where you're going and how to get there. And all of the timetables and everything are on your student admin portal, okay? You can only access that once you're registered, and those emails will be going out this week, so don't panic. We're trying to process a lot of students. So you'll have access to everything once you're registered. So this is obviously important. It might determine, or it might kind of influence your decision about when you fly home for Christmas, or if you fly home for another event. You'll obviously need to do that based around your exams. So have a look at that. And like I said, book your place on the various study skills workshops. They follow their webpage, follow their Instagram page, make sure you know exactly what's available to you, because exam time is stressful, but there is a way to manage it and to really kind of capitalize and do the very best you can. So look at what's there, okay? So plagiarism, obviously something that's is not tolerated in UCC. And any sort of academic dishonesty, which would obviously include plagiarizing and cheating during a test or an exam or a written piece of work, not tolerated, and there are severe penalties if you violate those rules. So in order to see what the rules are, you can just Google the Code of Conduct. It's on the website, so UCC Code of Conduct. It's very clear as well on the Students' Policies and Procedures webpage. The Students' Union have it listed, so there's no excuse. It's your job to know what is and is not acceptable, because, like I said, it is punishable, and you don't want to.
Again. Natalie, sorry, you're on mute.
Grand, thank you. Thanks, Anne-Marie. It gives me a second to breathe as well. Okay, so like I said, if you're not really sure about how the plagiarism and the cheating works and what the rules are, you can contact the education officer, and she will or he will help you to understand what the rules and what the penalties are. Okay. Now, onto something a bit lighter and a bit more fun. So in terms of Irish culture, so there are a couple of things that you might not know about Ireland already. So for example, punctuality is very important. Arriving early for appointments is the norm. So this is actually true and false, because it's important to turn up on time to a meeting, whether it be with your lecturer or with one of us. But if you turn up on time to a party, you'll be the only one there. So in Irish culture, that statement is true and false, just to make you confused. So the next point, when refusing or declining an offer, no will be spoken directly. So this is definitely false. In Ireland, we are very indirect. So you might make lots of excuses about, I'll think about it, or I might meet you, I'll let you know. That's a no. So no is spoken very indirectly. So it's just one of the nuances of Irish culture that you will learn pretty quickly. The other thing is, making fun of people is common practice, but it is not insulting. So this is true. We call it Irish banter. So if somebody really likes you and they feel really comfortable with you, they might kind of take the mick out of you, or they pull your leg. You'll know yourself how you feel, and you'll know by the intention, but generally it's a good thing. They're playing with you, they feel comfortable with you. The next thing is direct eye contact is important to establish trust and honesty. So this is very important, and it's true. A lot of cultures, you know, for example, in Africa, the way to show respect and to show deference is by looking away from the person. And to us, without that cultural kind of insight, you might think, God Almighty, that person's really rude and is not listening to me. But actually, it's their way of showing that they respect you and they're not challenging you. So in Ireland, it's a bit different. We do need people to look us in the eye to show that they're being honest and that they trust you. So that's true. The other thing is people are friendly. It's common practice to talk to strangers without a hidden agenda. So I think everybody knows this one is true. You could be at the bus stop and someone will just start talking to you about the weather usually. And that is usually very, very common and very, it's very okay. We're just very friendly people, and I don't think we're good at silence. So the next one is following up on agreements is rare and persistence is required. So this one is false. We meet this a lot with students from certain countries, like maybe India, you know, who their culture is very different from ours. They need to, you know, chase things up, otherwise it might not happen. And it's the same in some countries in Europe. If you don't chase and chase and chase, you won't get what you need. In Ireland, it's the opposite. Send one email, we will get to you. If you keep emailing and ringing and emailing 20 million people, we're going to get annoyed and you go to the bottom of the list. So this one is important as well. And again, it's just another cultural transition or shift you'll have to make. Giving of gifts is acceptable in a social setting, so this is true. So in a social setting, so if you have a birthday party or a housewarming, you'd usually bring a gift. So you'd bring something just to say, you know, thank you for the invitation. The next one is the group is more important than the individual. So this is false in Ireland. We're very selfish people. We're very individualistic. It's all about me, myself, and I. We're very Western like that. So in certain countries like maybe China, Malaysia, I suppose in India as well, the unit is very important, and that dictates how you act and the things you do. So we're different that way. It's not better, it's not worse, it's just different. And the final thing, just to kind of point out in a run through of some Irish culture, true or false, queuing is an important social etiquette. That is really important. You're not going to make any friends if you just jump the queue. And again, you know, there are certain countries in Europe, like if you go to France or Italy, there is just no queuing. It's totally acceptable there. It's just how it's done. Whereas here, people will not like it. And when you go to the supermarket, actually, you'll see that if I have a big trolley and you have like just a bottle of milk, I'll let you go first. So you'll learn all of these things as you go, but it's important just to know that there are differences, okay? So almost there, on to the safety piece. So the good news is that we're a very safe country. We've been ranked the third safest country in the world by the 2023 Global Peace Index. So every year we're number 2 or 3, which is fantastic. And it's based on different categories, I suppose, in terms of like how many, you know, drugs are in the country, how many guns, just crimes in general. So we're very safe. But that comes with the caveat that obviously you have to take your personal safety very seriously, and you must take precautions. So, for example, crimes of opportunity will happen everywhere in any country. So don't become complacent. So don't leave your laptop, phone, or your wallet on the table in the cafe. Go to the bathroom and then come back. It won't be there when you get back, more than likely. Don't carry large amounts of cash on you, and avoid poorly lit areas of the city or those areas that are not frequented by the public. So again, you'll learn the cultural nuances of who might be someone you should avoid, areas you should avoid. You'll learn this by kind of just watching and being here. The other things we tell you to do are, you know, let people know where you're going, who you're meeting, have your phone with you, have it charged and with credit, because you will look different. You know, even if you're from the US, you will look different. Irish people, like everywhere, we know when someone is foreign or when they're an immigrant, they're not from here. So you do stand out. So you just have to be cognizant of that. Okay, so alcohol, the legal age to drink is 18, not permitted to drink on the street. You will get fined. Please drink responsibly. You know, just be careful. Just mind yourselves and mind one another. Look out for each other. And there's lots of information on our Drink Aware website. It's just got some lovely hints and tips. Because it is part of Irish culture, it's part of the student experience, but please, you know, just be careful and be sensible. Consent is another really important part of not just the UCC community, but part of Irish culture. Always ask for consent. You could ask for consent more than once. You can change your mind. There's a lovely program, is called Bystander Intervention, which myself and Suzanne completed. We did our digital badge, and basically it just helps to train you up on, you know, the resources that are available if something happens, how to speak up safely and support others, and what to do in certain situations. So the key word there being, it teaches you how to step in or step up only if it's safe to do so. So this is really important. Again, things might be different in your culture. You know, we might be further ahead, we might be further behind. So please look at that bystander intervention program, because, you know, it might be somebody, a friend of yours, that might come to you, and it'll be good to know how to support. And as always, the International Office is available to help. We've seen everything, and we are, like myself, I'm trained as a psychotherapist. Suzanne is trained in psychology. So if we can't help, we'll direct you to one of the services that can. So please always come to us. We're here to help. So like I said, this program is available to staff and students. So we all have a responsibility in knowing how to help others if it's safe to do so. So Campus Watch. So this is made up of UCC security guards. They're always on campus. They're always patrolling, just making sure everybody's, you know, safe. If you notice anything suspicious or something happens, you know, there are various numbers you can call. So please take a screenshot or a photo of this. It's on our website as well. So you've got Campus Watch, the coordinator there. You've got general services. You've got the security desk at reception by the science building. And you've got the security desk at the reception in lots of the buildings, to be honest. So those telephone numbers are really important to remember and to know. And again, they're really equipped and trained to help you. In terms of the Union of Students of Ireland, so this is obviously like the local students union in UCC, but it's for all of Ireland. And they have a really nice guide on Campus Watch, how to stay safe. So that's the link. Again, you can just Google USI or Union of Students Ireland Campus Watch, and it just takes you through things about how to not just stay safe, but how to mind yourself in terms of your mental health, your physical health, sexual health, every aspect of your overall well-being. And it gives you tips and tricks on how to acclimatize to the Irish culture, because it can be a culture shock. It can be difficult. So I would definitely recommend that guide as a really nice resource. The ITA are the Irish Tourist Assistance Service. So they were in contact last year. I'd never even heard of them, to be honest. And they basically provide 24/7 assistance for people who are visiting Ireland or who are living here but who are international. So, you know, you're not Irish, but you're not a visitor either, really. So they help you to deal with tourist victims, of deal with issues if you encounter crime. They're available 7 days a week, and they're experts in dealing with all these issues that, you know, tourists and immigrants might encounter. So please, again, take note of them. They're based in Dublin, but they've seen everything and they're fully available to assist. So it's a really good resource to help you as well. So in terms of emergencies, obviously, you know, come to us if anything happens. We are here to help, and we can signpost you to where to go. We're here to help you in times of difficulty, whether that be stress or a bereavement or a disagreement with a housemate. Come to us, and if we can't help, we'll refer you to the professional services who can. So out of hours number, we only work Monday to Friday 9 to 5. So this is our out of office hours number, and please, it's only for an emergency. If you have a sore throat, you have to sort it out yourself. I can't help you on a Saturday. So I'm joking, but what you need to do is you need to know what an emergency is, okay? So obviously, if you're very sick, or if something happens, you you lose your passport or something, that is not an emergency. We can't help you find it. You need to go to the Gardaí. So the emergency services are available on 999 or 112. And it's the fire brigade, Coast Guard, ambulance, and the Gardaí. And the Gardaí are the Irish service, the police service. So if you need a doctor, so in the evening, so after 6 and at the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, your two options are to call South Dock, the out of hours GP service, or you go to the hospital. Now, you only go to the hospital if it's very serious. I went to the hospital with my daughter, who's 3, because she had breathing difficulties, and we were there for 6 hours. So if you have a sore throat, and we've seen people go there with period pain, if it's not serious, you will be waiting for hours and hours and hours, and charged €100 for the delight of it. So if it's something like you think you need an antibiotic, you're worried, you're genuinely worried about a pain or something, call South Dock. The nurse will call you back, and they will tell you if they deem it necessary for you to go in or not. Then what happens is, if they think, okay, you need to go to the hospital, they will give you a referral letter, and that referral letter will waive that charge. So you're not charged to be seen. You are charged by South Dock. I think it's also €100. But that's why you need your health insurance, because it'll cover hopefully everything like this. Okay, so like I said, number 1, you go to the pharmacy. They're usually really, really good. Number 2, call South Dock. Number 3, only go to the emergency room in the hospital if it's a car crash or an accident or something very serious, an assault or something very serious. And you will be seen based on how serious the issue is. You will be seen 6-7 hours later if it's something minor. Okay, so fire alarms, you must comply with regulations. The fine is €1,000 if breached. Again, it is reinforced. So especially if you're in a student complex, if the fire alarm goes off, the fire brigade will come. There is a charge. I'm not sure what the charge is. So, just be careful with the cooking. If you're new to cooking, please be careful. Because you will all be evacuated, especially in these big complexes, because they can't take any chances. And if there is no fire, somebody will be charged that €1,000, and we can only hope it's not you. So please be careful. And then the other piece is, if you're traveling overseas, just be careful. For example, in Greece this year, southern Italy, it was extremely, extremely hot. There were wildfires. People were encouraged not to travel. So you need to check up on current events, whether it be climate, weather issues, whether it be volcanoes or anything, political unrest. You need to make sure you know what's happening in that country at present. That is your responsibility, okay, to keep yourself safe. Now, finally, questions time. So I know that was very long, and I know it was very detailed, but there was no way to shorten that down for you, I'm afraid. So I'm going to just stop sharing my screen, and we're going to have a look at the chat and see if there's anything in there that we can help with.
I have, Natalie, I have actually kind of addressed 1 or 2 questions to you, but
Amazing.
there's just 2 I might kind of highlight, if that's okay. One, because it came up repeatedly in terms of health insurance. A lot of people purchase the policy from the date of the programme start date. So there are concerns if they arrive in Ireland a few days in advance, if that will be an issue.
Well, you could get into trouble with the immigration officer. They might ask you, well, why are you not insured from the moment you step foot on Irish soil? Because let's look at it realistically. If something happens and you had to be repatriated or end up in the hospital, it could be extremely expensive. So you need to have maybe travel insurance, or you need to amend your health insurance to the date you set foot in Ireland.
Okay.
You have to be covered.
I just reiterated in the chat though that it is the end date in particular to keep an eye on if you want your IRP for 12 months.
Yeah, exactly. So this is the problem with people arriving early. You know, if you arrive, say, in May and you have your insurance from May, then your IRP card will only be renewed or issued until May. And then you've got the whole summer and you get caught at either end, because then you'll have no IRP. You'll have to renew it at a cost of €300 if you're allowed to renew. So I would get travel insurance. It could be pretty cheap. But speak to your policy provider and see what they can do. Maybe they can add on a month at very little cost, but just make sure you're covered.
Yeah, and the other question just was, do you need to carry your IRP on you at all times?
I don't know the answer to that, because like if you get it lost, then you're in big trouble. I'd probably just have a photocopy of it. Like, you know, when I go traveling, I take a photocopy of my passport and have it in my bag. So at least then if something happens, I lose my bag or something, I have evidence of my passport rather than having to renew the whole thing again. So I don't know. I don't know if I'd carry it, but you can be stopped and asked for it, but at least have something on you. So a picture of your IRP card might be sufficient. Yeah,
no, that's fine.
Good question.
They were just the two questions that I wanted to highlight. I have addressed some to you specifically, but just to say the engagement on the chat has been phenomenal. I really appreciate it. And all the help that I received with answering questions. So I just want to thank everyone for their engagement, and I will continue to respond there where I can. Okay, we'll follow on. Thanks, Natalie.
Brilliant. So is there anything else in the chat that I need to look at? I'm just going to have a quick look, because for anybody who's accessing, the recording, they won't be able to see the chat. So I'm just going to have a little look through here. So is the library open? We've kind of covered that. And Marie's covered loads of those questions. If anybody has any questions, Mercedes, go ahead.
I just noticed in the chat, and I asked it too, after we registered, there wasn't any link to get the student ID card. Is that coming later this week, that information?
That actually was included in the registration information, Mercedes, but I have also put a link into the chat there. You'll see the link is there, how you can book it. It's in the chat. Okay.
Okay. I'll see if I can find it. Thank you.
No problem.
So I just seen an email there from Pushkar Kumar. If we aren't coming by next Monday, how should we proceed? So you just proceed with your registration email when it arrives. This is the mandatory orientation you need to attend. The Q&A on Monday the 4th is just a drop-in session. It won't be covering any of this. So it won't be covering visa and immigration questions, anything like that. You'll be meeting, representatives from the international office, from the bank, from the skills centre, from accommodation, careers, and I think that's about it. There's 5 tables there anyway. Health insurance, like I said. So do we have to notify anyone for our late arrival due to pending visa decisions? If yes, to who and how? So I'm getting a lot of those emails as well, Anne-Marie. People arriving late. Is it 2 weeks max they can arrive late?
It depends. I put that in as well, Natalie. There's some, obviously the questions are coming up a lot. It is 3 weeks maximum for non-professional degree programs. So the 30th of September, unless you're studying something in medicine and health, for example. And if you're studying something in medicine and health, there is no late arrival. Anything with a placement also, like say, for example, education, or teaching Chinese to speakers of other languages, that kind of thing. Anything where you have a placement or it's a professional degree, you have to arrive on time. We can offer a little bit of flexibility for other offerings. I would, as a matter of courtesy, just email your course coordinator maybe to make them aware that you're late, but there's no formal process. Okay.
Perfect. And you can find your coordinator details on the website. I'm getting, again, lots of emails. Can you give me the email address? No, I can't Google it for you. Please just check the website. Everything is on there, okay? So do we notify anyone? We've covered that. I did have difficulty with platform access during registration. I accomplished the tasks through the different method option. Okay, great. Email confirmation, yes, you're going to get that this week. I received a revised offer letter with an increase in the scholarship amount. So this is from, I don't know how you pronounce your name, Darmaji. That corresponds to the first class honours CEF scholarship. However, I already made full tuition fee payment according to the second class honours CEF scholarship. Given the revised scholarship offer, it appears that I've overpaid by 2,310. I kindly request your guidance.
From the CEF College
Oh,
office.
great.
Hi, that's been resolved
Lovely.
already. Yeah.
Lovely.
In the last
Thanks,
few
Una.
hours. So he should have received an email directly from the fees office regarding that. So yeah, that's
Perfect.
closed out.
Perfect, thank you. So an email from Akila, could you please repeat the documents required for immigration? No, we've gone through them already. They're on the website. They came to you in the countdown emails. They're on the Facebook page. I can't go through them all in detail again. So if you just Google UCC IRP form, it'll give you the form and the checklist, okay? Lovely, thanks, Anne-Marie, thank you. So I think, did you cover that ethnomusicology program? I completed all of the steps on the registration page, but I cannot find any information about getting my student card. So you're saying that that is in the registration email?
It is, yeah. And I've also put the link up, yeah.
Amazing. I'm just kind of calling these out for the sake of the recording, okay? How long is the IRP valid for? So it's valid for 12 months, no more, but it's only valid until the date that your either student card ends or your insurance ends, okay? Registration webpage for student ID card. Is UCC a part of UK? No. The UK is not part of the EU, I presume. Is that what you mean? Student ID, I completed all of the steps on the registration page. Okay. Where can I officially? So it's a lot of questions about the student card. I'm currently in Ireland on a dependent visa. Is it required to convert to student visa? Okay, so it's a stamp 2A, sorry, stamp 2, not stamp 2G. You need to check that out because student stamp is not reckonable as citizenship. So you need to A, check, am I allowed to study on the stamp 1G as a dependent? And 2, you know, does it affect my residency? Because like I said, stamp 2 is not reckonable towards citizenship. So you need to check that out yourself because that's an important one and it's a good question. You need to check which is going to be more suitable for you. Okay, who else? How long is the IRP valid for? So 12 months. When does the academic classes start? 11th or the 18th? Is it the 11th or the 18th start date?
It's the 11th for most of them, Natalie, but anyone that has any queries on their start date should look at their offer letter. It will be on the offer letter.
Perfect. Okay, so guys, it's really important to read what's sent to you because I am getting deluged with emails and it's stuff that we've already covered and we've already sent to you. So it's just there's too many of you. You have to read what's sent to you, please. Do we need to carry original education documents of our past degree? That's a question for each school. I don't know what they need from you, but in terms of coming through immigration, we've already covered what you need to take with you. So you just need to check the immigration website. I've returned mail to study at UCC for the request of approval for 1 week. I think that will be covered. What private health insurance do you recommend? I am in Ireland. So again, we covered that in the slides. Yeah.
Sorry to cut across you, but just with the health insurance, the one thing that keeps coming up in the chat there is there's a concern about people that have purchased insurance at home and some that have purchased in Ireland. And there seems to be a query also about what is private health insurance. So could you just maybe explain again, like that the policy that's obtained abroad is okay if it's up to 1 year and so on? Just there seems to be a little bit of confusion. It's coming up a lot.
Yeah,
Thanks.
no, and this is why we did the workshop because it is confusing. So if you are here for a course of up to 12 months, you can get health insurance from your home country. So it's private health insurance. It means that you have to pay for the policy. It's not government sponsored. You know, you have to go to a premium policy holder and you have to purchase a policy. And it tells you then that you're covered for travel, you're covered for living abroad, you're covered for hospital, repatriation, dentist fees, doctor's fees. You get money back based on the premium you've paid. So if you're here for 12 months and 1 day or more, you have got to get an Irish policy. Immigration will reject your policy if it's not purchased in Ireland with an Irish provider. So basically the whole reasoning behind it is that you're not coming in and becoming a burden on the state, because then you're in breach of visa and immigration regulations, and you know you don't want to be in breach of the Irish legislation. So if you have an accident in Ireland, you are not going to be a burden on the Irish state, because it's not our responsibility, it's yours. So that's why you purchase a private policy. And there are lots of companies. There's VHI, there's Leia, there's Irish Life Health, there's Study and Protect. The ones we recommend are VHI and Study and Protect, because we work with them closely. We know their policies are compliant with immigration, and there are different plans. You have to just go onto the website, Google UCC Health Insurance, and you choose the different companies, and you just have to do your homework and see which one suits you best. So the most important thing to note is, if you're here for a course of 12 months or less, you can get a policy from home. Now, immigration are still going to want to see the policy, and they want to make sure it's still adequate. And there are things that need to be covered, like repatriation, hospital cover, and like €25,000 up to €25,000 in accident cover. So that's all on our website, because you could have a policy from home that is sufficient to get a visa, but immigration decline. So that would be up to the immigration officer. The second part to know is that if you're here for longer than 12 months plus 1 day or longer, immigration will ask you for all your documents. If you present a US or an Indian policy, they will reject you straight away, and you'll have to get a new policy. And like I said, you have to do your homework in terms of which one suits you best. And obviously they have different pricings, so you have to look into that yourself, okay? How can I get a GP appointment as early as possible for long-term illness? So that's a good question. I don't know how to answer that, because it's very hard to get a GP. What I did when I moved town was you literally just go into every GP and ask them, are they taking on new clients, new patients? Can you go on a waiting list? That's the best thing to do. In the meantime, you probably have digital doctor on your plan. You should stay in touch with your GP back home if possible. You can register with the UCC Health Centre, and at the weekends you have South Dock and you have the emergency room, but it's a tricky one to answer. You have to just basically go from GP to GP and try to become a patient there. There is something called the 365 clinic. It's a walk-in clinic, but if you have a long-term illness, you want continuity of care. So you want to make sure you've got someone who knows you and knows your history. So I would say you need a private GP, and you just have to go around, call one to the other and ask them to put you on a list. Since we start in September, and I believe conferrings are held in October, does that mean we must get medical insurance from an Irish provider, as that will be over 12 months? Conferrings are held. No, it's the date of the course, the date you officially finish, not the date you confer, because there can sometimes be a very big gap. So when you're finished your course, in terms of classes, that's when you know, your Irish health insurance can end once you're not in Ireland, because you need to have health insurance. So it just depends. You might need to extend it. May I know how we have to pay the immigration fee? So this was already covered. You can't pay with cash. It's a bank giro, or you pay with Visa, Laser, or MasterCard. Forex card, I've never heard of. I'm guessing that's a no. Is it in the airport? So you have immigration at border control. When you arrive, they'll ask for your documents. Why are you here? What's your purpose of the visit? Prove it. But then to register with immigration as a student, you need to either go to Anglesey Street or to the local Garda station, depending on where you live. Anglesey Street if you're a city centre, the local Garda station if you're not living in the city centre. Can we pay with liquid cash? I don't know what liquid cash is. I'm already living in Ireland. What?
Sorry, we established that's just cash. And I said no.
Grant. You learn something new every day. I'm already living in Ireland, but I need to change my address on the letter of acceptance full offer. Will I be able to do that online, or should I go to the office in person? Is that something you could help with, Anne-Marie? Change your address on the... I think you can change it on the portal.
You can change it
UCC
yourself.
portal.
If there's any problems with it, just email me and I'll work it out. Okay. Just to say, sometimes I've had situations where students have tried a number of times to put in the address, and each time they put it in, then because it has been put in a number of times, the system kind of locks. So if there's that kind of an issue, just contact me. Okay.
Thanks, Anne-Marie. So this is a good question. It's from a visa requiring student who arrived 7 months ago for an English language course and is now transitioning over to the to a student stamp. I don't know what stamp you're on. And I don't know, will you be renewing or will you be first time registration? You just need to go down, pop in now if you're in Ireland, or just email them and explain the situation, maybe upload a picture of your current card. I just don't know what status you're on. If it's renewals, I don't know either. If you need to prove finances, they never got back to me. I think there's a lot of confusion about that. So I don't know is the answer. I would expect it will be brought in. You need to show proof of finances. I believe it will be brought in eventually if it's not in already. How can we change our visa to Schengen? You are not changing your visa. It will be an additional visa. So the immigration card is permission to stay in Ireland. It's not to travel anywhere else. If you want to travel to the UK or to Europe, you need a separate visa, possibly. If you're from the US, you might not need anything. If you're Indian, you might need a visa. You'll have to investigate that yourself. I just need to change my permanent address in the registration form.
That's okay. That's
grand. If we purchase health insurance for 1 year, beginning the first day of class to a year later, but are arriving before the first day of class, will there be an issue? So I think we covered that. You do need some sort of cover, yes. Apologies if it's not appropriate to share, but Irish Life is solid if you're planning on staying for over 12 months. Oh, nice. We always like good feedback. Do we need a PPS number before applying for IRP card? No, you can't get it without your IRP card. So you need to do the IRP card first. What about the debit card? So yes, you can pay with a debit card. Sorry. If we get Irish private medical insurance but are here for less than 6 months, does that count as private medical insurance? Yes. Does it need to come from our home country if here for less than 6 months? It can. It's up to you. I don't know what a Forex card is, so I don't know if that will be accepted. I imagine it might not be. I had already taken a medical insurance of €160. Is that enough? I can't check your policy for you. I don't know. During the registration process, there was a step payment of fees where it states that I have to pay a full fee liability amount. However, I've already paid the 50%. I don't understand that question because I don't have anything to do with fees.
Yeah, it's probably a good point to highlight. Essentially, what's happening is you are allowed to pay your fees in 2 installments. So if your fee is 18,000, you are allowed to pay 9,000 in August, September, and 9,000 in January. But if you've paid 9,000, it will still show 9,000 on your student portal until the full balance is paid. It doesn't matter that the outstanding balance is there, it's just on the system until the whole thing is paid off. So, you don't need to worry if you see that on your account for whatever reason, it's fine. You can still proceed with registration. Now, obviously, for those of you that are still waiting on visas, there may be a separate visa requirement where you have to pay extra, say, for example, for a student that's doing a program that's 15,000, then 7,500 might be the fee that you've paid, but you may need to pay more than that for your visa application. But it's no harm that it shows on the system. It's more a reminder to us than anything else, It's
Perfect.
a good question.
Thank you, Anne-Marie. Thank you. So there's another question here. Will it be a problem if I don't receive proof of private insurance in time before I land in Ireland? Yes, you need to be insured from the moment you step foot on Irish soil. Immigration can refuse you entry without insurance. And besides that, if something happens to you that day or the next day, you could spend thousands, you know, paying for hospitals is very expensive here if you're not an Irish citizen or if you don't have health insurance. I lost my access to MFA, mistakenly deleted it. So that's an IT question.
Yeah, for anyone
You have
that
to contact.
sorry, for anyone that has accidentally deleted their MFA, which happened a lot, you do need to contact Student IT Services. We can't do anything with that, unfortunately. Yeah.
I think it's sit@ucc.ie, so student IT. Just Google it, just student IT UCC.
Yeah, and sorry, the information is also in the registration email.
Perfect. So guys, you have to read what's sent to you, please. Okay, like others have said, I completed the registration, but I haven't received any information how to get my cards. This is coming, this email is coming. Immigration, you'll get a landing stamp, that's fine. The health insurance will be starting the day we travel, right? Well, I don't know, you need to set that up yourself. So if we reach a few days earlier, then the insurance won't cover the entire 1 year. So yeah, you just have to possibly extend it or renew it. You need to be covered from the minute you arrive to the minute you leave. So registration, you will be getting a registration email. Could you please share this PowerPoint for reference? No, the recording will be available in the chat. And everything is taken from the website and it's been sent to you in 3 countdown emails. My insurance date starts on the 11th of September and I'll be traveling on the 6th. Is it a problem? Yes, you need health insurance from the day you arrive. I emailed Chris Anico from Study and Protect, who was speaking at the UCC Health Insurance Workshop, but have not heard back. Ring them. He's just one guy, he's just one agent in Study and Protect. They have a whole team. So just give them a ring or email a general Study and Protect email address. Is our IRP card something we need to keep with us daily? So it's a good question. It's up to you. I definitely take a picture of it and have a printed photocopy in my bag. I'd keep it safe probably. It's at home. I have emailed you, Anne-Marie, regarding refund. So Anne-Marie will take care of that. I have opted for temporary accommodation for 2 months after arriving in Cork. Should I put that in my term address and correspondence address during registration? I presume so. Can we work before the IRP card is issued? No. You cannot work or study until you have your immigration in place. And then you cannot work until you have your tax number in place, because then you're breaching tax rules. So if you want to get deported, that's a really good way to go about it. So number 1, you get your immigration sorted. Number 2, you get your tax number. Was there an answer to the question about how to get a student ID card? So yes, that email is coming. One of my friends got disconnected from the call. Yeah, I'm sorry about that, but they can watch the recording. Where to register and get a student card is covered. So loads of questions being answered. Yeah.
Sorry, I just cut in because I just to say, yeah, the chat is phenomenal and it's great to see so many questions. But I'm just conscious that there are a number of people that have their hands up and we are running out of time. So what I was thinking is, if it's okay with you, what we might do is we might just switch to some of the face-to-face questions, maybe. Okay. Is that okay?
Yeah, of course.
You know, I should have booked it in for a little bit longer.
So who have we got next? Rubindran? Do you have your hand up? Do you have a question? You're on mute. Okay. The next one is Taliesin Sneed.
Rubin.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, go ahead, Rubindran.
Hi, Natalie. I just have one question. When I come over to Cork, I'm staying with a friend. So how do I update the address? Should I add my name in the list so that I can show it as proof of?
You can change your address. Sorry for stepping in, Natalie, but you can change your address on your student portal once you register. You can update that anytime
but
you want.
prove that I'm staying there because the lease is under my
Yeah.
friend's name. So
For immigration,
yeah, how do I prove to the immigration that
yeah,
I'm also living there?
it
So
needs
should
to
I
be
go
on
and
the
change the
lease.
lease?
Yeah, it needs to be on the lease.
Okay.
Yeah, it needs to be on the lease, or you need otherwise a bank statement or a utility bill. So
Okay.
they do need something kind of official. Does that answer your question?
Yeah. So if the bank statement, when I open an account in Bank of Ireland, if I can prove my address is with my friend, then it shouldn't be an issue when I prove it to during the application for IRP, right?
Sorry, say that again now. So if you show the lease to Bank of Ireland,
Yeah. So if I can open an account with Bank of Ireland under that address, and then I print a bank statement and bring it for my IRP application, it shouldn't be an issue, right?
well, I can't predict that, but you see, there are two different processes. So if just because you can open a bank account, you can open a bank account with a letter of attendance, but you can't open, or you can't get a registration with immigration without like a lease or a bank statement. So technically it should be okay, but immigration will always make the final call. So an official lease, a utility bill, or a rental agreement would be perfect. It should be
Okay.
perfect, but they can ask you for anything, and they can reject anything equally.
Okay. All right.
Okay, so Tallison Sneed.
Hi.
I'm sorry about the pronunciation, by the way.
Oh, no, you got it right. You got it right.
For everybody.
I had a quick question. So I'm a US citizen, so I don't have to have a visa to enter the UK. I didn't think about coming back into Ireland, so my dad and I, he's just staying for 2 weeks. We were going to go on a quick little tourist weekend jaunt to Belfast and Giant's Causeway in Northern Ireland. Would that be an issue since I don't have my IRP?
You do have your IRP.
I do not yet.
Okay, so it's not advisable. You could be rejected. Yeah. You're traveling at your own risk, unfortunately.
Gotcha. Okay. All righty.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Sorry now. Kashyap Char?
Yeah, hi.
Hi.
My name is Kashyap. I'm from India. So basically, I had two doubts. So first one is, can we register for PPS from our country as well? Like, can we register it online for PPS?
You won't be able to because you don't have an IRP yet, and they ask for that as far as I'm aware. They ask for your IRP reference number or your card number. Now, that could have changed. So I don't know. I would imagine you should get your immigration first and then get your PPS.
Because I checked on one of the person texted on the chat that he has applied for PPS online. So I was just
Okay. I don't know. It's a completely separate process from UCC. Things always change, and they don't inform us, which is why we can't really help, because we don't have the up-to-date information. So try it. See if you can apply online for PPS number. Most people get stopped at the point where they need evidence of why they need to work. Usually that will look like a proof of an offer letter. Like an employment offer letter. So that's where most people get stuck. So you'll just have to try it. I don't know, but we can't write up anything anyway for you.
I know
I have few other doubts as well. So basically, I have booked my accommodation in 11 James Street, but I don't have any rental agreement or something. So I don't have the proof of that. So once I apply for opening the bank account in Bank of Ireland, so what proof can I submit? Like, should I submit what the rent payment or something like that? Should I submit?
No, it's all on the form. You can only provide proof of address if it looks like a bank statement, a utility bill, or a rental agreement. So you have to read the form. Yeah, they won't take, like, I've been asked this, like, what if someone posts me a package or posts me a letter? No, they'll only take those three things. It's easy. It's much easier to open a bank account. All you need to do is generate a self-generated letter of attendance, because you could put in any address you want. The Bank of Ireland will take that if you're living in Ireland. If you're applying from your home country, then they need proof of address from your home country. So there's two different routes to go. But immigration is a lot more complex. They're a lot stricter. So it's only, proof of address can only look like a bank statement. And if it's an Irish bank statement, they need a full bank statement and a mini statement from the day. If it's a statement from home, they need 2 bank statements, one from the past month, one from the past 6 months in your name. And then the other one is, like I said, a utility bill in Ireland or a lease agreement. So it has to be one of those 3.
Okay.
Did you have
I'm asking
any
a lot
other
of questions.
Yeah.
I have another doubt as well. So basically, we were trying to watch, like I was trying to see my timetable for my course, but I wasn't able to view it. I was able to view last year's timetable. So isn't it updated already, or will it be updated in the further coming days or something?
Anne-Marie? I don't know.
I didn't quite catch that. Apologies. What was
Updated
that?
timetables? Updated timetables?
That's something that you'd need to contact the academic department about. We don't, it's post-admission, so we don't actually have access to that. Okay.
So yeah, the school or the department will have answers to a lot of questions we don't, you know. They probably just haven't even had time to upload it, but they probably could send it to you. So just email them.
Okay, thank you.
Was there anything else, Kashyap?
No, that's it. That's
No.
it. Thank you.
Okay, good.
Nancy,
Yeah.
thanks. Sorry, I'm going to put in a link into the chat there with regards to PPS numbers and IRP cards. From what I can see from just a brief look online, it looks like you just need your passport. But as you said, you do need evidence of your need to work, and you also need evidence of address. But I will put in the relevant information there into the chat because it's something that's come up a bit. Okay.
Perfect. So just to advise, you know, you might get your PPS number, but you still can't work unless you have your residency permission. So I would, you know, I know a lot of people are trying to figure out, like, how do I just get most of this done now? Because it's a lot of bureaucracy and paperwork, but just please abide by the rules. You can't work even with a PPS number until you have your residency rights. If you're working for an employer who's not checking that, then I don't know how legitimate it is. So, and that's we can't help with that. So, and we can't advise on that. Okay, Oksana. You're just on mute, Oksana. Do you want to go next? Okay, Wendy.
Hi, thank you for the presentation. I just have a quick 2 questions. So first, compared to off-campus pharmacies, do we have discounts for buying medicines in the on-campus hospital?
So it's a good question. There's no on-site pharmacy, but there's lots of pharmacies within the vicinity, and most of the city pharmacies will give you a student discount with your student number or your student card. I would ask in the restaurants, I would ask in the cafes, I would ask everywhere. Most of them will give you a 10% discount. So you just have to ask and just be prepared to show your ID.
Okay, so on campus, the UCC campus, we cannot buy medicines.
No, there's no pharmacy. No.
Even though we cannot see a nurse on campus?
They'll probably give you a prescription. To be honest, I haven't been a student in about 20 years, so I don't know, do they give you the drugs that you need or the medication? I presume they just give you a prescription. I don't know. Okay. But if they might dispense something to you, but I would say they probably give you a prescription that you need to fill in the pharmacy.
Okay, thank you. And another question about, or sorry.
No. For example, I know for sexual health, so like maybe the morning after pill, you might get that for free in from like maybe I think actually you might get that free from the nurse. There are some things you do get free, but you would have to just check with them. I don't know, to be honest.
Yeah, I was wondering just if we got injured, like a small wound, like what is the first thing that we need to contact?
I suppose it depends on, like, if you fall off your bike or something, like, is it?
Yeah, like that.
Yeah, I would always go to the pharmacy first if it's not, like, if you don't think it's a break and you just have maybe sprained your ankle or twisted it. The pharmacies are brilliant. because the pharmacists can help you. It could take you a while to get an appointment with the health centre is the problem. So I would say the pharmacies, they can give you like medication over the counter, they can assess it maybe in their consultation room. And then if they can't, they'll tell you then you need to go to a GP. So they will kind of triage you. So it depends on the severity. You kind of have to make a call on that yourself, you know.
So for on-campus hospital, we can only contact them on the business working hours, right?
Yes, so it's not a hospital, so it's a health center, and I think so I think there's only one GP and there's a couple of nurses on call at any one time, so you have to make an appointment. They maybe during term they have walk-in hours. I'm not 100% sure. You just have to check because everything has changed since the pandemic. So you used to be able to walk in between certain hours. So just Google the website and see. And yeah, because I don't want to give you wrong information because things are kind of changing all the time since the pandemic. Things are opening up again, you know.
Okay, that's great. Thank you. Another quick question about orientation. So there will be orientation session on Monday 4th. Unfortunately, I booked the flight tickets maybe in the afternoon on that day, so I might missing the orientation, but it said compulsory orientation session. So I'd like to ask if there are any other chances for us to participate in this drop-in.
So today is the mandatory orientation because it covers everything. Monday the 4th is optional. You have to go in at your allocated time slot based on what school you're studying, what discipline. So for example, if you're science and engineering, it's at a certain time. If you're a medicine student, it's a certain time. And you'll just be going in, you'll just be going to the bank, the VHI stand, you'll be talking to careers. It's more like a kind of just a kind of a drop-in session and get a cup of tea, get a cup of coffee, meet some students. It's not detailed like this, but they will have stands where they'll be able to help you with, say, careers questions or skill center questions. That's not recorded, it's just a drop-in session. So after that, there's loads of events, and they're more like social events, and that's the welcome events, and that schedule is on our it's on our website. The next thing that you really can go to is I'll be doing a visa and immigration session again on Friday the 15th of September. That's from 9:30 to 10:30 in Bool 1. So I'll be advertising that closer to the time. So if you have any more visa and immigration questions, because look, it's complicated, I'll be doing that in person on Friday the 15th.
Okay, thank you so much.
No problem, Wendy.
Okay.
Kennedy?
I'm not sure, am I audible? Probably, do you guys hear me?
I can hear you, Kennedy, yeah?
No, perfect. My questions with regards to driving in Ireland, as an international student coming from sub-Saharan Africa, I'm not sure, do you have any guidance to what we're supposed to use to drive in Ireland in terms of license? Am I supposed to get an international license from maybe automobile association of whatever?
It's a good question. I don't know is the answer. I don't know. I think if you just Google driving in Ireland international license and see what they say, because I don't know if it depends on where you come from, if there's an agreement between maybe EU countries and Ireland, I don't know. So just Google driving in Ireland international license and see what they say. There is like a regulatory body and they'll tell you all the rules, but very good question.
The unfortunate part that I've googled it. I've googled the whole procedure. There's some countries that you probably hand in your license and then they exchange it.
Okay.
You're part of the license. I can give an example for South Africa, but my own country, Zimbabwe, then there's a different process that you can use. You're allowed to get an international license for a particular length of time, but what I do not know is what happens after that. But well, since you probably, I'd have to try to Google more, probably get to find out when I set foot there.
Yeah. I just don't know is the answer, to be honest. I'm sorry.
No worries. Thank you for the presentation.
Thank you. Thanks, Kennedy. Tohib?
Yeah, hi Natalie. Thank you for the session. All right, so my question is about the immigration. I have a single entry visa, and I wanted to ask if after getting the IRP card, there won't be an issue going in and coming out of Ireland, even though I had a single entry visa.
Actually, dropped out on us.
Did you get that?
I'm sorry, I think
Hello?
that. Yeah, I'm sorry, I think that her connection has dropped, unfortunately.
Does that make sense to you?
Natalie, we missed all that. You dropped out for a
Okay,
minute.
can you hear me now?
We can,
Oh.
yeah.
Yes.
Sorry. Okay, sorry about that. I'm down in the country, so so your IRP card becomes your multiple entry visa.
Okay.
See, that it will be okay.
It's okay.
Okay, so
yeah, becomes your multiple.
even if okay, so there's no issue even if you came in at the initial stage with a single entry.
No.
Okay. All right. So one last question. I'm supposed to be in Castle White accommodation. I don't know if there's any guidance how I can get the lease agreement.
Just go to reception. If any of these student complexes have a reception, and just tell them I need a proof of address for my immigration, and they will know exactly. They do this every year, so they just print something up on headed paper. Yeah, with your name and your apartment number, full address. Just check it before you leave.
Okay. Thank you so much. I think that's good.
Perfect. We'll just take a few more, guys, because it's been a long meeting for everybody. It's going on almost 11 to 2.5 hours. So Akshata.
Hi, my name is Oksana. Yeah, I seem to have an issue with submitting my documents for renewal of IRP card because I need the confirmation of my I need a letter from UCC to renew my IRP card. But the problem is that I am graduating from American College Dublin, and I still don't have the official list of grades, final grades. And the exam board will meet only in September. And that's the problem, that I can't officially be registered in the UCC for my postgraduate studies. Is there any chance I could get a letter from UCC to submit my documents, because I'm late already? I need to do it as soon as possible.
Have you contacted Exams and Records?
Yeah, they said that. Actually, my teacher provided me with a letter of completion. It just says that that I graduated. That I have. That I graduated. That we just have to wait for the marks. But for visa is okay, but I need to document from UCC as well. And I sent that document, the letter of completion, to one of the officials from UCC.
Okay.
But
okay.
I also need a letter from UCC so I can submit my documents for the visa renewal.
What letter? Sorry, Anne-Marie, go ahead.
I think we can take that offline. I think that's something that I'll look at after lunch. What I'll do is, Oksana, can you just put your application number into the chat there for me, please?
Yeah.
I'll make contact with you after lunch and we'll have a look at your application to see what we can do. Is that okay?
Yeah, sure. I will send it now.
I think it's easier maybe to deal with that on a one-to-one. Yeah. Okay.
Perfect. It's a bit of a unique one. Thanks, Oksana.
Thanks.
Akshata?
Hi, Natalie. I just wanted to know regarding the dependent visa, which I told you before, which I asked you before. I needed a clarity. Whom do I connect with to convert? Whether I have to convert it to stamp 1G student visa? Whom do I contact?
You will either have to go to Anglesey Street Garda Station. I would imagine Anglesey Street Garda Station, you're going to have to call into them. I think that what they'll ask you to do is write to the Department of Justice. So you're probably going to have to escalate it. So you'll have to go to Anglesey Street in Cork City.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
No problem. Kokila?
Yeah, hi Natalie, Kokila here. So my query is regarding the registration process. I have received a mail and I have did that. My query is that do I receive any confirmation mail?
Do you what?
Do I receive any confirmation mail after registering, completing the registration?
Oh, sorry.
No, and the very last step on the registration process is confirmation of registration. And if you can click on that and print your confirmation of registration, that is a signal that you are registered, if that works for you. If for some reason that doesn't work for you, there's obviously a step missing, and you're welcome to email me and I'll have a look at it for you, but you should be able to print it off yourself from the portal.
Okay, sure. Yeah, there is an option called like after choosing our modules, there is a confirmation like I can accept. So hope that will be the last process for the registration completion, I guess, right?
It should be, yes, it should be, yeah.
Okay. And another question regarding the medical insurance, I have opted from Ireland insurance agency itself. That is for 1 year. Hope there is no concern regarding that medical insurance. Is that fine?
I can't check individual policies, so you'll just have to go to immigration and you'll just have to see if they take it. If you Google UCC health insurance, UCC International Health Insurance, there is a document there that tells you what the requirements are. So off the top of my head, it needs to cover things like hospital cover, repatriation, and 25,000 in accident. So you have to just look at that document, okay? But immigration can reject it if they wish. It's up to them.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
And Annie replied to my regarding the 1 week extension. Since the visa I didn't yet receive, so I have asked like any approval mail do I need to require from UCC?
Anne-Marie, she's just asking about the extension.
For the late arrival, is it?
Yeah,
Yes.
sorry, yeah.
Yeah, so there's 3 weeks allowed for most programs, but as I say, what program are you taking?
I have took electrical and electronics engineering.
That's fine. That question I think came up in the chat as well, and that's absolutely fine. You can arrive the 30th of September. As a matter of courtesy, I would email the course coordinator just to let them know, but it's okay. Okay.
Yeah, thank you so much. That's
Okay, Masil?
Can you hear me properly?
Yeah.
So I have a question. When I was doing the registration in the website, it was a part that it says.
We have dropped that.
Yeah, it says also otherwise, if I don't pay those fees, I can use the library or the gym or the arena, and I get worried. So I don't know why that shows.
Again, I think that's something that you should probably send on to me. Send me on a screenshot and I'll have a look at it, okay?
Great, because I thought the library and all the stuff there for free.
It is free, yeah, it is. It's just that if there's a fee outstanding that should be paid. So say, for example, if you hadn't paid any fees at all, then you wouldn't get a student card and therefore you wouldn't be allowed to access the library or the gym. But if your fees or anyone's fees are in order, then everything is free. So give me a screenshot, I'll have a look at it and I'll try and come back to you.
Thank you so much with that. About the modules, I'm doing a master. I don't have to do anything, like the modules appear already in my registration form when I finish.
Yeah,
Is there
like
automatic?
the modules will appear, the mandatory modules will appear, and if you have elective options, they should appear also for you, so that you can pick what you want.
Oh, okay. Oh, perfect. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay, Joshua.
Hi, my name is Joshua. I want to go back to the insurance. I just realized that I bought the insurance from Iris provider, Student Protect, and I just realized that my coverage date is on the 1st of September this year, while I'll be arriving on Ireland on 31st August this year. Is there going a problem for me on immigration?
Yeah, you'll have to change the dates. So you'll have to extend it back to the date that you're arriving.
Oh, okay. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. I'm just going to take another question from Lynette and another question from James, okay? So Lynette?
Hi, Nathlin. I just have a small query about the residence. I'm staying with the family who's coming back to Bombay. So I'll be staying in their place for about 2 months. When I reach the immigration counter, what do I end up having to show them about the place to stay?
Okay, so I didn't quite catch that. So where are you staying? Did you say where are you staying?
Right now, I'm in India. I will be coming down sometime on the 10th of September. That time, I'm staying somewhere in Douglas, which is under the lease of someone else.
Okay.
So he's providing me with his utility bill. Can I use that utility bill on the visa count on the immigration counter? That
Is
I'm
it
staying
in your name?
Oh, sorry? No,
it
it's
has
not
to be in
my
your name.
It's not
They
in my
will
name.
only
It's
they
on
will
his.
only take. Okay, so you need proof of address. So you need a lease agreement, an Irish bank statement, or a utility bill in your name.
That is for the IRP, right?
Yes. Is that what you're asking?
No, I am not asking for the IRP. I'm asking for the basic immigration. When I reach Dublin,
oh, and
show them
the airport.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they might ask for nothing or they might ask for everything, but the most important is your passport and your visa and evidence of why you're here, so your offer letter. So if you just go onto the Irish immigration website and just find out upon arrival, immigration upon arrival, it gives you that list of what you need. There's nothing about address there, but a utility bill in someone else's name isn't going to help you at all.
Okay.
It doesn't prove anything. So what you mainly need is proof of ID and proof of purpose to be here, which is student.
Okay, then I think the UCCI offer letter would be something which would help me at that time, right?
Yeah, because it shows that your intention of being here is to be a student. Sorry, Anne-Marie, did you have a question? Did you have a comment? Sorry.
No, all I was just going to say was just remember initially some people will be staying in like bed and breakfasts or hotels or whatever.
Hotels.
So your date of your address upon arrival won't be the issue. It'll be just when you're going to permanently reside here, you'll have to provide evidence of where you're going to be staying in the long term. But for the first week or two, it's not going to be an issue.
Yeah, perfect, Anne-Marie. So look, I'm just going to take one more question because there is a lot in the chat and there's a lot of hands up, but I think we've covered everything and you can just email me directly. Jane Francis. Jane Francis.
Can you hear
me? I can hear you.
Yes, I have a question. I've just received a registration email, but my visa is not yet out. So I'm just wondering, should I go ahead and do the registration while waiting for my visa?
That's a really good question. Yes, you can. If there's any issue that your visa is refused or you can't arrive on time, we will be able to amend it for you. So you can go ahead and register, absolutely. There's no problem with that. In fact, I would recommend it, because if there's communications from your academic department, then at least they will be sending them to your student email and it will be active. So I would advise it, yeah.
Thanks,
Okay.
Anne-Marie. Another
One more
question?
thing. Yes, one more question. What happens if I arrive if I arrive after my course starts? My course is supposed to start 11th of September. That's environmental analytical chemistry, but because my visa is not yet out, I'm not sure I will be there by 11th of September. So what do I do?
What I would advise is your course coordinator is Dr. Eric Moore. I would advise you to email him and to advise him of the situation and just check in with him, okay?
I didn't hear you clearly, please.
Sorry, no, I'm saying that I would advise you to contact your course coordinator, Dr. Eric Moore. I would link in with him just to see what he has to say on that.
Okay.
Okay, just because that program is quite full, and I'd just like to make sure that he's okay with you arriving late, okay?
Okay, so how do I get in touch with him?
His email address is on the course prospectus page. So if you wish to look up the course prospectus there, you'll find his email address.
Okay, thank you. That'll be all.
Okay. Just to say, I know we have really ran over time, and so just to say, if there's anyone that has questions that didn't get a response, there's no problem with it. Please do keep putting them into the chat. We will do our best. If there's any in the chat that haven't been responded to, we will respond to them later today. And if you have any further questions, you're welcome to email me or put them into the chat, because I think we're so far over time, but we do really appreciate your patience and the fact that you've stayed with us for such a long session. I think it has been quite useful for everyone. Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm just putting my email into the chat because I think we could go on forever more. I think everybody's tired. I need a break. So as Anne-Marie said, thank you so much for attending. It's a lot of information, but it's really important, and it will help you start off on the right foot. So you can put your questions into the chat, we'll get to them later, or pop an email to me and Anne-Marie and we'll get back to you. So thank you so much, everybody. And this will be recorded, and once I press leave, it'll start to upload the recording in the chat and you can access it there, and you can have 4 hours of fun all over again. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.